When I was a kid, my cookies were made by elves. My vegetables were grown by a giant. My fruit punch crashed through my bedroom wall, shouting, "Oh yeah!" You guys remember those commercials? Those fast food and regular snack food mascots? Well, I believe those food mascots exist as kind of a postmodern American mythology. Their history is tied to our history. And I think knowing where they came from kind of helps us learn more about where our culture might be going. You know, the first food mascot was the Quaker Oats guy, trademarked in 1877. Now, he wasn't based on any one real dude. And in fact, the Quaker Oats Company wasn't even founded by Quakers. The founders of the Quaker Oats Company just appreciated the foundations of the Quaker society. You know, dignity, integrity, honesty. Like everything else, the fast food and the food mascot industry started with a well-balanced breakfast. And for better or worse, all of these mascots were based on real people, caricatures and stereotypes like Aunt Jemima, the Sun-Made Raisins girl, the Morton Salt girl, the Gerber baby. I mean, that's a far cry from the California Raisins or the Nestle Quick Bunny. So what accounts for this total lack of imagination at the beginning of the food packaging industry? Well, remember that advertising was geared toward adults and in print, so it simply had to be practical. It had to make sense. If you're selling baby food, slap a picture of a baby on it. That's what adults do. But all of that changed in 1916 when the Planters Peanut Company hosted a drawing contest, and a 14-year-old boy won with his drawing of a walking, talking nut. Artists added the monocle and the top hat, and Mr. Peanut was born. What followed was a cavalcade of crazy characters that tried to attract America's appetite. Some of them were larger than life, like Ho Ho Ho, Green Giant. A Minnesota canning company created the Green Giant when they found an abnormally large strain of peas, and they packaged and sold it. Another early mascot was Elsie the cow, who toured the country promoting milk and dairy products. Here's a fun fact about Elsie. Her boyfriend was Elmer the bull from Elmer's Glue, which I learned in the 3rd grade is not food. Another mascot from the burgeoning era of TV mascots is the Pillsbury Doughboy. He was one of the first stop-motion animated mascots. He's appeared in over 600 commercials. He would have a very long IMDb page, and the DB would stand for Doughboy. Now, I could spend the next half of my talk here breaking down the origins of all of our favorite food mascots, but you can look that up online. I'd rather give you some food for thought. I guess here's that twist Danny had mentioned. Why are these characters so important to us? Well, many of them promote the food that we ate as kids. And so it's really less about where they came from and more about how they remind us where we come from. I mean, Saturday morning cartoons over cereal, you know, sitting at the dinner table with family, those are fond memories that make us who we are. Further, these foods make America what it is. In America, we love variety. Do you know that there are 19 different kinds of Cheerios? These mascots distinguish and elevate their brands. I mean, there's a lot of different cheese puffed snacks out there too, but you know about Cheetos because of Chester Cheetah. Chester, what a mascot. I mean, back in the day, the Jolly Green Giant, the Sun-Made Raisins girl, they were depicted tending to their crop. Chester, he doesn't know how the Cheetos are made. He doesn't care to know. And that's just his story. And like any character in any story, he represents some facet of the human experience. I mean, ask any kid, do you know what to be or not to be means? He'll say no, but he definitely knows I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And really, what's the difference? I mean, I learned about hubris not from Darcy in Pride and Prejudice, but from Tony the Tiger, who insisted in every commercial that every bowl of Frosted Flakes was nothing less than, you see, you know the word, you know how it ends. Of course, not every facet of our mascot's history is something to be proud of. Aunt Jemima was in the news recently because her roots are tied to the old minstrel shows of the late 1800s that really disgustingly stereotyped a lot of Black and African American culture. A rebranding is in order, but it's important to remember that at that time, real African American actresses newly freed from slavery, like Nancy Green, represented Aunt Jemima and told stories across the country about their experiences. The rebranding is necessary, but I think preserving their legacy is necessary too. Now, I think all of our mascots are going to slowly go away here. Earlier this year, Planters tried to kill Mr. Peanut in a Super Bowl commercial with Wesley Snipes, and at the time, that was the worst thing that was going to happen in 2020. If our mascots do go away, at least the lessons they've taught us will remain, like how important it is to share a good meal with family, how relevant it is to sometimes treat ourselves, and ultimately, the big lesson, you are what you eat.